You're live, Mr. Govili.
We're live, and we're excited to be here with everyone today. Jared here from UEN, excited to help be our host today. So I am happy to be with you today. We're going to jump right into our seminar. We are at week 8, rapidly moving through this course. I'm going to make this big. So we are in the last couple weeks of our Future Ready framework and quickly moving through our book. This week we're talking about momentum, and I have a feeling that this year, someone said that 2020 is the longest year we've ever had. And I don't know if it feels like that for everybody, but we're hoping that as we move forward throughout the rest of this class, that we're not trying to focus on perfection, but we're trying to focus on moving in the right direction.
I feel like I kind of lost June, but that's probably just me.
You probably did lose a little bit of June.
I lost a lot of June.
Yeah. So this week, our assignments are not that dissimilar from what we've done in the past. We'll be working in our technology book, reading chapter 7, building your connected.
Screen, Jared, or just let
am I not sharing
slides now?
That's so funny. I'm just talking away. Don't worry.
That's okay. I even turned it on to allow it, and I don't have to.
That's pretty funny. Good job, Jared.
That's a simple mistake. We just hope nothing inappropriate happens from here on out.
All my fun jokes, all my good stories, all for naught. Okay. So this week we are in chapter 7, building your connected learning communities. As in the past, we're doing an enhanced discussion post. This week we're encouraging you to explore a blog. So as we heard Jackie mention a little bit earlier today, there's a couple different options for blogging that we've posted, but don't feel compelled to use either of those. If you've got a different one that you want to use or that you're currently using, you're more than welcome to use whatever blog service that you use, okay? The whole idea, though, is a blog allows for two-way communication instead of just kind of one-way communication. So that's kind of the big crux today, is that we want to be able to share ideas and kind of have more of a conversation versus just a monologue, right? This week, we're also going to be writing a 2-page paper from the Future Ready framework. And today, just a couple things that I want you to consider. As we look at the Future Ready framework today, we're talking specifically about the budget and resources. And this is something that we've seen a lot of information, especially in the last few weeks, as the legislature is looking at the fact that we may have a budget deficit this year because of so many businesses not having tax revenues, right? So there's going to be some questions about how do we work through savings costs as far as technology goes. One of the things that I thought I would spend a little bit of time today just kind of sharing with you, I've gotten probably 2 or 3 emails already from folks saying, hey, I've been emailing my district person and I'm just not hearing back from them. You know, maybe this is when they're on their break or whatever the case may be. Where can I find information about budget and about technology expense? And I just thought I'd share with you a couple of resources today during this seminar that may kind of help you look at that just a little bit. So the first one that I wanted to share with you is the Digital Teaching and Learning Grant Program. Most of the districts are involved in this right now, and it will actually show you when you go to the website dtlutah.org, a lot of information about what kinds of requests your district is making as far as for your technology programs, as well as what some of that money is being spent on. So if you're not able to connect with someone at your building level or at your district level, I might suggest going to the state office, the State Board of Education website. Specifically, they've got a unique URL here called dtlutah.org. And I might just go to that just for a second. Let me hop out of my slides. I just wanted to show you this and just kind of walk through it just a little bit so you know what you're looking for. So a couple of things that I want you to see up here. On the top, it has state stats. This program's been around for a few years right now, but you can see that you can go into state stats and see allocations for the past several years, at least the past 3 years. And if we click on any one of those years, we can see direct funding for different districts. And a lot of this information, it's all public, so it's not anything that you're not able to access. It's not something that's behind a walled curtain, but you can kind of see some of the different ways that the information that they're sharing as far as how this is impacting teachers and students. And the next link that I'm going to share with you actually goes in and shows you like some budget monies. So it goes through and talks to you and shows you some actual funding and some cost savings and some different things that you can use if you're not able to connect with somebody from your district. I can tell you from our group here, Carol, have you been involved in writing some of that from Davis, or is that other folks?
It's other people.
Okay. Clint or Brandon, you've been involved in this at all from your ends?
A little bit, not
Just
too
a little.
much. Yeah.
Not writing, more supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been part of the grant committee that's reading all the grants this year, and it's just amazing to see what your districts are using these funds for. You know, they're making a request annually for things that they want to use it for, and I will tell you, every request is based upon a classroom need or a learning objective. It's not just, well, we just want to have Chromebooks, right? Everyone's talking about how they plan to use this technology within their buildings to improve student learning and improve outcomes. So I've been super impressed as I've gone through and been part of the kind of the reading committee and kind of approving some of these grants. But like I say, as you go through here, you can see it goes through and it talks about different schools, kind of shows you what they look like. If you've never been on this website before, highly recommend it as a good place to look at when it comes to how technology dollars are being spent in the state of Utah. The other website that I posted this week, let me go back to it, is actually on the UEN website. So I know a lot of you have been on the UEN website, but maybe you've never been to uen.org/digital-learning before. I'm going to just pull that one up for a second and just show it to you for a moment. I think I've already got it up here. Yeah. So again, this is kind of UEN's involvement in the DTL program. And as I scroll down on this page, you can see there are links to projected allocations. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you want to see what your district is requesting, this has dollar figures. And again, I'm not logged into anything here, okay? But these are actual dollar figures that are on the grant. As you kind of poke around on this website, you'll actually see, whoops, I didn't mean to go back there. You can look at past year's grants to see what they've applied for in the past. And they'll actually have a breakdown for the last year of all of their technology expenses. So you can look at each individual district or charter school that's applied for the program, and you can see how they intended to spend that money. So if you're getting caught where you're not able to reach somebody and talk with them about budget and expense for technology, I really think that this is a good way for you to look at it. And everyone that I've talked to, just so you know, if someone's emailed me and said, I'm kind of struggling, I said, well, we'll address it on Thursday, but just know we understand that sometimes you're reaching out and you're not being responded to. So we are not going to hold you accountable for information that people aren't willing to share with you. But we would also say, instead of just writing a paragraph that says, well, nobody talked to me, so I don't know any of this information, we want to try and share with you some resources where you can at least find some general information, even if it's not as specific as you might have gotten from somebody in your district. Anything that any of you want to say about that?
Those are two good resources. Appreciate you pointing those out.
Yeah. So as you go through, again, those two websites, I hope will be pretty useful for you as far as this week's discussion on budget and cost savings. You know, one of the things that we are so good at here in the state of Utah is we're really good at sharing dollars into one pot and being able to use that a lot of different ways. You know, just recently when the legislative special session ended, a lot of education dollars are actually being saved. What I mean is when they're looking for places to cut, there are certain educational budgets that they have not cut. I'll give you one really prime example. I just learned this week that the funding for the Nearpod statewide has not been cut. That's something that they're looking to maintain. That's a resource that's going across all the districts in Utah to be able to provide that technology service, you know, and that program that you guys can use. So super happy to hear about some of those kinds of things that so many of us use in our classrooms. So, and so as you look at those different things, again, the 4 topics for this week are efficiency and cost savings, how technology funding aligns to your district and school plans, providing a consistent funding stream, and learning return on investment. And so that's one of the big reasons why I want you to look at those DTL grants, because I think they'll really show you how they're spending the money and how it's trying to lead to improving student performance. So I hope that kind of helps you there. Okay. Do you all have specific questions about what you're going to be doing this week? So as far as the weekly assignment, let me just jump back into it real quick and we'll just pull it up just so you can see it. As we mentioned this week in Sustaining the Momentum, your discussion post, we're asking that you post a blog post, and we've given you a couple different options. We already heard earlier from Jackie that she was signing up for EduBlogs. It's a great website, has a lot of neat features that help protect the kids that are part of your classroom so that their information doesn't get kind of out there to the public. Another great website that maybe is turned on in your districts, if you're a Google district, is blogger.com. That's the Google blogging tool. To use that tool, you just have to log in with your Google account. So we're asking you to kind of think about how, as you're creating your personal network, you know, what are some of the things that you're looking for when you think about connecting with your own communities? What are some of the steps that you may have to think about, or some of the ways that you want to engage your peers and those beyond your building? So that's something we're asking you to do. And like I said, the unique kind of tool we're asking you to use this week is a blog. And that's again due by Sunday night at midnight. Let me scroll quickly and get back to where we were at a second ago. We'll jump back into our slides. Okay, if there are no questions, again, there's just kind of our overview that you're going to finish up these 3 things, participating in our webinar, doing the reading, and then the discussion and the assignment. And that assignment is due by Wednesday at midnight next week. Now, next week's a little bit of a different week for us. I think I'm going to stop sharing slides because we're just talk for a second now. Next week, we will not be having a live seminar because of the 4th of July holiday. We know that Thursday is not technically the federal holiday yet, but a lot of you will probably be heading out. So you'll be getting out of town pretty quick if you're going anywhere. And so we'll be recording this. I'll let Carol kind of mention what her plan is as far as the recording for next week.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna record it. I'll probably post it tomorrow for next week, so you can watch it early, and you can get started on homework assignments and all of that early before, you know, all your weekend plans come into play. So we just want to do that to kind of help you out because we know the holiday is coming.
Yeah.
And then also, Jared, there is a question in the chat.
Yeah.
So Katie wrote that I've been struggling to find a community of practice. Thoughts and suggestions?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some of us have our community of practice within our buildings, right? But for some of you, how are you reaching out to folks that are beyond maybe your school building, throughout your district, or even throughout beyond your district? Anyone have a suggestion for Katie as ways that you're trying to find or build your own community of practice or your own professional learning network? How about from our group? Any of the instructors want to share a thought, or how are you trying to connect with kind of thought leaders or people that you encounter?
Twitter, we mentioned that last week. Yeah, that's in the chat too. Conferences, and somebody mentioned that in the chat as well. Network while you're at trainings or conferences. And I know that doesn't help you this week, or coming up anytime soon. There is the UEN conference coming up the end of July that we have.
Right. And Katie, I would suggest that a community of practice beyond, I would say maybe it looks a little bit more like some of your PLCs in school, and that you're not just talking about education, but maybe you're also looking at ways that you can improve your practice, right? I think sometimes when we talk on social networking, we're sharing more ideas, but maybe when you're in a PLC, you get a chance to practice or to do some of those kinds of things. I think they're fairly interconnected. I wouldn't stress out about the terminology. It's just, how do you network with other folks to improve what you're doing as a teacher? And that can take a lot of different, to look at a lot of different ways. One thing that I might suggest as far as Twitter goes, especially though, and some of the social media platforms, a great way to build, to find a community is honestly, it's to share. I know that sounds kind of funny, but a lot of us tend to be consumers at first. And so we go and we find things that are useful for us, and maybe we're not as ready to share some of our own things. But I'll tell you, once that relationship becomes a partnership where you're sharing and they're sharing, you'll be connected with a lot more folks than just you being a consumer. So I think all the suggestions that you've made about networking and those kinds of things are awesome, right? As far as ways to find one another and connecting, especially when you're at conferences. So be someone who contributes, not just someone who consumes.
Yeah.
So this is Katie. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I actually feel like I'm pretty much connected and more connected than I thought, actually, because I'm in my.
I think a lot of us are once we really analyze what we've got. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in my school PLC. I have a district PLC. I'm on a professional learning network on Facebook that I've contributed to, and that also I've found lessons and stuff. And I joined Twitter, and I also have just kind of loose connections that we get together on kind of a more casual basis. So I'm just, is that it? I'm open to things, but when I look up community of practice, it seems like it's this really formal big thing. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be super formal.
If that's for me.
I think sometimes our district will create things that become a little bit more formal because it becomes maybe a way of assessing how we're doing as a school. But as far as you and your own professional learning, it doesn't have to be formal. Yeah. Like I say, you may end up participating in some formal communities of practice because that's a way that your district can measure their effectiveness. But for you, it's all about what you're getting out of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Really appreciate everyone jumping into the chat and sharing some of those things.
There was one about if we will make next week's stuff available sooner than later, but it should be. The next 2 weeks should be open right now. We should be 2 weeks out. I'm just making sure. I'm trying to check the master to see.
And honestly, we're almost to that point where everything's about to be open because weeks 10, 11, and 12 are already open. So I think week 9 is the last thing to open for you. At this point, you may be able to do all the rest of the materials for class. So if that's not the case, let us know. But that's our intention, is that on weeks like next week where you may have more family things and more maybe a vacation thing coming up for you, that you can hopefully be a little bit ahead, or you can catch up when you get back.
Yep. Yeah, let us know if that's not the case, if you can't get in a week.
So I have a question for you.
Go ahead,
this week, as I was looking at Twitter, I really don't know anything about Twitter, and I found the Utah Ed chat, and it said,
Yeah.
come join us. It's every week. And I'm just curious, is it something that people are actually talking, so you hear their voices, or is it all via like texting or typing?
Yeah, it would basically be like a giant IM chat, you know, instant messaging, where during that hour, everyone's using that hashtag UTED chat. And if you've searched for that chat hashtag, it filters out all the rest of Twitter, and it's just people talking about that topic.
Okay.
And I will say one thing about Utah Ed Chat for the summertime is we do take a little bit of a break. So last week, I'll put it in the chat right now, but there's a summer one kind of going on that I found last week, and I jumped into it. It's hashtag and it's not Utah spelled out. Sorry, I did that wrong. It's URUT chat. So UR Utah chat. They're doing that Thursday nights at 9 p.m. So if you want to try it, again, you just go to Twitter, you put in that in the search box up at the top of the screen, you put in that # and URUT chat, and it filters everything else out, which is sometimes kind of nice to turn off that fire hose, so you're not hearing about everything else, and it pretty much will just be a lot of educators talking about whatever their topic is for the week.
So is it something you can go back and read if you don't hit it live?
Yeah, let me show you. Like, it just keeps an archive of whatever was going on. So let me go into Twitter real quick, and I'll share this with you real quick. So for example, if I come to Twitter and I think I'm logged in on this login, and I come up to the top right corner where it says search Twitter, and I put in my # URUT chat. You can see there's the actual hashtag, so I select that. Now, it's got some different ways that it filters it. So top means there's been a lot of discussion or sharing about this post, right? So a lot of people have engaged with this in somehow. If I want to see what's been happening lately, when I click latest, you'll see that like the most recent post was an hour ago. And it says tonight, 6 hours away, we're jumping in. We've got this person, Zoe_LU will be the moderator. And they're going to be talking about how identity and race will play a role in our classrooms tonight. Sounds like a pretty interesting topic. And so at 9 o'clock tonight, if you put in URUT Ed Chat or URUT Chat, the thing I would suggest is click on latest, because that's going to keep updating, not top, right? Top's just going to, Michelle might be there for a while because she's got a lot of feedback on that one. So if you click latest, you'll see it. And here's a good point. Like Brandon was mentioning this last week, right? Finding the people that you think are interesting. When you search a hashtag like this, if I click on people, oh, that one doesn't have it. Let's go to ours. That one's a little too new. But when you click on people, it starts to show you the people that are pretty involved in it. I'm just doing this to market myself, just so you know, but no, I'm teasing. But it starts to show you people who are part of this or coming up frequently in this. I can't say that Representative John Curtis and Mike Lee have jumped in a lot, but
I was going to say.
that's pretty funny that they're showing up there. So. Anyway, Gal, I hope that helps you a little bit to kind of see how it works.
Yeah, thank you.
But just remember that stuff comes in kind of newest at the top and filters down, so you kind of have to follow the discussion from bottom to top.
And let me share one last little resource with you. This will kind of help. I'll just put it in the chat real quick. We've got on the Utah Ed Chat, we put a lot of content on the USET website. And so this link that I just posted in the chat, if you go to it, it has a little bit of tools to help you when you're in a Twitter chat. So it's got a video and it's got a couple articles that are they're a little bit old, but that's okay. Things haven't changed that much. So that will kind of help you if you participate in the chat.
Yeah, TweetDeck helps a lot.
So if you want to try and use one of those tools when you do it, yeah, it slows it down a little bit, gives you a little bit more control. So, well, friends, that's all I've got for today. Really appreciate all of you joining us. Hope you have a great week next week, even though we won't be live on Thursday, but you'll have the chance starting probably tomorrow, right, Carol? To look in on next week's materials and review that and go through that at your own pace, and then we'll be back 2 weeks from today.
Good deal. Thanks, sir.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Carol, where are you going to post that? Will you send me, do you want to send the video to me? Do you to put on my YouTube? Do you want to post it and send me the URL?
What
Do
would
you
be
want
the
to embed it?
easiest?
Easiest
Whatever
would be, I mean, if you've got a YouTube channel, we can put it there. That's fine. I can just
Okay,
add
I
it to
do.
the playlist and embed it from there.
Okay, I'll do that and then I'll just send it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll do it.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, you guys. Have a good holiday, you all, as well.
Yeah, you too.
Don't blow anything up.
No fires, right? No
Oh, yeah.
fires.
There's so much stuff. Wow. For sure.
Hey, you guys. We'll see you later.
Okay,
Thanks, everybody.
see ya.
I'm going to boot y'all out.